guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's gonna be a video, so it's gonna be a story time. I promised you guys in my last video that I was gonna do a story time for you of the time that I went to jail. I just want to say first off, thank you for coming to my channel and watching my video. If you're new, thank you for my current subscribers who are already OGs. Thank you for coming back and watching this. So I want to talk about the time that I went to jail. So if you know me, you know I am and always have been since I was 13 years old. I got saved when I was 13. So I literally have been trying to live my life the way that I should. I've been trying to make the right decisions, make the right choices, and you know, life is hard. Obviously, we all know that. We all live here. Life is hard. Life is not all roses and cupcakes and sprinkles. You go through rough times. Things happen to you. You do what you feel like you need to do. Sometimes we make the wrong decisions, and sometimes we make the wrong choices for ourselves. But it's not what you did, it's how you get out of that. So basically, like I was saying, I am a Christian woman. I hardcore love God, live for God, especially today. In my past, obviously, I've always tried to live the way that I was supposed to live. Things happen and people come in your way, and unfortunately, you know, Satan uses people that come into your path to try and get you astray from the good path that you're going through, or you're trying to live. So basically, okay, so this is hard to say anyways, but I'm gonna say this and tell you guys this as best as I can. I was gonna say could and can. I'm gonna tell you this as best as I can. So basically, 2022 was one of the hardest, when I tell you hardest, and I've been through a lot of hard times in my life. I've lost a lot of people that I love in my life, and it's just been a tough path for me. And I know that when you are, you know, a Christian, life is not just easy. It's harder because you have to live a certain way that Christians are supposed to live and not the way the world wants you to live. I strayed. I did. I moved to Orlando. I had my reasons for moving there. I was in a house for 14 years and I was just ready to go. I made a stupid decision and I uprooted myself and my children, and we, you know, for a while I was living there by myself, having them finish school where they were instead of just dragging them out in the middle of the year. I want to say within the first 6 months of 2022, I spent, you know, I moved there Christmas Eve of 2022. I spent Christmas by myself. It was hard. I spent Thanksgiving by myself. My mother was in Texas. My sister was in Maryland, you know, so I really didn't have anybody except friends over there. And I just was there by myself. I didn't put a Christmas tree up like I normally do. I didn't put Christmas decor up. I didn't cook Christmas themed food or anything like that. So it was lonely, you know what I mean? And like I said in my other video, the Q&A, I was, you know, that year was very, you know, very lonely. So boom, I just lived, you know, by myself. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna start hanging out with friends. I'm gonna start, you know, doing things. I had to work, you know what I mean? So I got a job over there. I had to drive an hour and a half going and coming. So that's 3 hours a day. And I worked 5 days a week. So it was a lot of driving, a lot of highway driving. And if you know the Orlando area, I was driving on I-4 every single day. Every day on I-4. And if you know Orlando and I-4, and if you've heard of I-4, you know that I-4 is one of the deadliest highways that there is. Always just say, God, I don't want to keep driving so far, right? So I ended up just getting another job that was closer to my house. So I was a floater in what I do. I've been doing what I do now in the optical. I've been doing this for like 7 years. So I was a floater going back and forth from different offices. So I was teching at the time. So that was okay. I was doing what I love to do, you know. So I started to hang out on the weekends and at night, you know, with friends. I started drinking a lot. Something that I will not talk about, at least right now, something happened that was very detrimental to me. Very detrimental to me, and it changed my life forever. Forever. If you follow me on Instagram, you would know, because I have posted about it. But what happened to me in 2022, in February of 2022, was the worst thing that I ever went through. Just talking about it right now makes me want to cry, but I'm not going to. Anyways, so I literally, you know, I say literally a lot. I'm sorry. Just hanging out with, you know, all these different people, meeting different people. You know, Orlando is a fun, like, city. If you live in Orlando, Kissimmee area, Claremont area, like, you know, Orlando is fun city. So I lived there in the heart of all of that, and you know, I was just hanging out, staying out really, really late, and doing things that I would never have ever thought I would have done. You know, but like I said, when those little voices get in your head of, you know, you should do this, you should do that, you can do this and you can do that, you know, you do it, you know, you ain't nothing to it but to do it, that whole saying, right? So I was out doing things that I was not supposed to be doing, hanging out with people that I should not be hanging out with, smoking pot, you know, drinking to get drunk to the point where I blacked out, you know, and that is obviously no bueno. Part of all of it, and I started to drink because of what I went through in February. I started to drink more heavily. That was the moment where my life just completely disabled itself from God. And talking about it now, I'm just like, God, I could never do that ever again. You know, and, you know, just being, you know, in front of my apartment, just smoking, just the language that I was using, just the things that I was doing was not the things that I would have done prior in my past, you know, and it wasn't me. It was not me at all. So I literally wanted to have like just a moment of, girl, you've lived your life, almost your whole life under, you know, Puerto Rican parents, you know, so I was always being watched. I was always, you know, wondering, who's watching me, or, you know, or should I do this, should I not do this? No, I'm not going to do this, you know. So it was hard, you know. So I was just like, wow. And let me tell you, this time, and then, you know, when my kids were still finishing school, you know, so I was alone and I was just doing what I wanted to do. But then in the back of my head, I was like, this is not you, girl. Like, get yourself together, pull your stuff together and yourself together and do what you need to do. But then, you know, again, and because you're so weak, you know, in your spirituality. In my spirituality, I was weak. I was super weak. And I said, you know what? I don't even care. I'm still going to smoke dope. I'm still going to drink to like get drunk. I'm still gonna do what I want to do. I'm still gonna live my life the way I want to live my life, because I'm tired of always being the good girl. The good girl. At that time, I was gonna say literally again. At that time, I just wanted, you know, I realized that doing stuff like that, I would meet more people. People would befriend me, and people that I never even knew. I never even wanted to hang out with them, but I did because that's what they did, and it was fun. We were always partying. You know, we were always, it was just, God, just thinking back at it, like just picture a person, aka me, as a good girl, as a good woman, growing up, a Christian woman, and then backsliding like nobody's business. Girl, it was bad. It was so bad. At that time, I wanted to be loved. I started, you know, hanging out with dudes, and I started doing things that I did not want to do, but I still did. And you know, a lot of stuff happened within myself. Not just a lot of stuff happened in general, but also within myself. I wanted to find that love. I wanted someone to make me, you know, the way I felt about myself. You know, and at that time, not knowing that I felt horrible about myself, I felt like I was just a piece of poopy. I felt like I was just not worthy. That's a great way to put it. I felt not worthy for anybody. You know what I mean? Not only for myself, but for anybody. I did not feel worthy enough to be called special. I didn't feel worthy enough to be called beautiful. I always felt like when it came to other people and dudes and stuff like that, I felt like the only way that they thought I was pretty is if I did stuff with them. And you know, it was, God, just thinking back, like talking out loud about this and then thinking back, horrible. Just like, I don't know, it's really hard to talk about this and bring all of these emotions back up, because honestly, like, what I really want to do is just cry. I'm not going to, because it's the past, and the past is the past for a reason. You need to leave it there. You know what I mean? Don't ever let anybody, nobody, when I tell you nobody, define who you are because of your past. Your past does not define your future. And as long as you are making the right choices now and for your future, that is all that counts, and that's all that matters. So anyone who is whispering in your ear, if you feel like someone's whispering in your ear to do something bad that you know is not the right thing to do, take that moment, fall on your knees and pray. Pray that God helps you get through it. Pray that God takes away all the feeling of you wanting to do what is being whispered in your ear, because I promise you, you will never regret it. You will regret it if you do it, but you will never regret it if you don't do it. So, you know, this is just like a small story time. You know, I just didn't want to get too deep into it because there's a lot more that meets the eye, but I just wanted to come on here and kind of give you guys a little, like, put you guys around the ball. But what's inside that ball is a lot. Let me get back to why I was telling you all this. So, because 2022 was such a bad year for me, I ended up losing everything. I lost my home. I lost, you know, friends. I lost family. I lost a lot. And you know, I was talking to my mother, and she's like, you know, come here, you know, and let's just, you know, figure everything out and get yourself together. You know, so feeling like I had, you know, again, no friends over there, no family anymore, you know, I said, you know what, I am gonna come. So I came to Texas, and on my way to Texas, I packed the little bit that I had, and I was getting on, I was in the airport, right? So I was going through TSA, and lo and behold, so I'd had that bag of my little bit of stuff for a minute because I was sleeping out of my car. I was living in my car, sleeping in my car. So I was taking my bag with me, and I was going through TSA, and the lady, she was patting me down because I guess I beeped, and she's like, okay, you're good. So I went to go get my bag, and the guy was like, is this your bag here? And I say, yes, that's my bag. Oh my God. I knew exactly why he asked me if that was my bag. And I forgot to take my gun out of my bag. So mind you, single woman, had my kids and everything. I carried a gun. And it was loaded with hollow point bullets. So, because in case anything happened, I had to be able to react and pop off if I had to. So, it was loaded, and I forgot to take the gun out of the bag. So, as soon as I said, yes, that's my bag, I was swarmed with FBI agents. I was swarmed with cops. When I tell you, it was so scary, so scary. But they immediately handcuffed me, and they sat me down asking me 1,000,003 questions. And after getting my statement and me signing a bunch of paperwork, they took me to the back in the airport, and they were asking me questions again. And he was asking me if I came to the airport to shoot somebody and kill somebody, and I was like, no, I didn't. I just forgot to take it out of my bag. So he's like, you know, he was a cool cop, but he's like, a lot of people, this happens a lot to people. So he's like, unfortunately, we're going to have to take you in. So I went in, I got arrested, I got booked, I was in the cell. When I tell you, at that moment, I knew that my life had hit rock bottom. And, you know, they just throw you in one place. It doesn't matter who's there. They just throw you in one place, you know, and you're just thrown into that place. And when I tell you, I had hit rock bottom, and I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried, and it was that hollow cry, you know, where nothing else mattered at that moment besides, wow, I'm sitting behind bars right now, you know. But I actually took a lot out of, you know, being in there. I met someone, you know, in there, and she was super cool, you know, and once we started talking, you know, we like glue, like we couldn't be set apart, you know what I mean? And, you know, then I met someone else there. She was there for attempted, you know what, and you know, it was crazy how things happened, because I was praying, you know, the whole time I was there. I was praying. I couldn't eat. Food is nasty there, so I could not eat. I was so depressed. I didn't have, you know, I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't have nothing. And then, you know, eventually I got a lawyer that helped me, bailed me out. But before then, you know, meeting that other lady, she was an older lady, and you know, she was just asking me questions and asked me to pray for her. And, you know, she put out her hand, and I wasn't going to grab her hand, you know, so she pulled out her hand, and I was just like, all right, God, like, is this what you want me to do? You know, so I just took her hand and I prayed for her, and, you know, she gave her life to Christ at that moment. So I feel like me going to jail was not for me. It was for her. You know what I mean? So, you know, you have to look at the glass half full instead of half empty. Because there's always a reason why God does things. I don't know where she's at now, you know, but. So I'm sitting here editing this video, and I realized that I did not tell you guys like what happened after I spoke to that lady. So I think I told you guys everything that happened after I spoke to her. But what happened to me, whole point on why I even said this story, but I ended up seeing the lawyer. I ended up seeing the judge. He ended up, my lawyer was there, and posted my bond, posted my bail, and I was able to get out a few, when I say a few, probably all day, hours later. So that's what happened. And then I flew back. As soon as I came out of those doors, I went straight to the airport and flew here to Texas. So that's what happened. I forgot to tell you guys that. So boom. That was the time that I went to jail. So that was my story time. I have been sitting here for a hot minute. My back hurts. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to this long drawn out story. I just started getting into it because I started like feeling like the way that I felt before, you know what I mean? And sad and all that. And I was just like, oh. But I kind of didn't want to leave anything out, but I did leave a lot out because this story would have been days long. But that was the time that I went to jail. This is why I went to jail. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I will see you guys in my next video, and thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to stay beautiful inside and out. Bye guys.